Peter Obi's structureless nightmare can. There's no doubt that piercing pain from the lingering wounds of the NSAS movement is providing fuel for the fire of those knitting the nightmare that is now causing some of Nigeria's wiliest veterans stomach cramps. As the presidential ambition of Peter Obi, the Labour Party presidential candidate in next year's elections, continue to gather steam, his opponents and their supporters have increasingly been at the receiving end of some electronic trashing from his supporters who have woven themselves into an ubiquitous, obedient movement that stings like a million wasps. Camping on social media, his supporters, many of them young, high-flying professionals in their own right, have been inspiring of the malice eating up Nigeria and those who peddle this malice. Many of those who have woven themselves into the whirlwind obedient movement that is threatening to rip up the rusty roofs, sheltering those who continue to reap from where they did not sow in Nigeria and clear about their targets. Among those who have taken Mr. Obi's side is that many young Nigerians at home and in diaspora who have left no one in doubt whatsoever that they are thoroughly disgruntled and a country that simply refuses to work. His support has cut across religious, ethnic, and generational lines, and those who have dismissed them as disgruntled ethnic bigots from southeast Nigeria are making up to this Slaviopin strategy of their mystics. In Mr. Obi's ambition, many Nigerians are finding the options tapped them by other contestants. Mr. Obi's detractors have been quick to point out that many of those fronting the former governor from Anambra State formed the vile vanguard that shredded Nigeria during the NSAS protest of 2020. However, in a country of selective amnestic recollection of events, history has already carefully entered in its journal those bloody October 2020 days when young Nigerians, some of whom paid the ultimate price at the Lekki toll gate as those who holding Nigeria to ransom to let the country go. There is no doubt that piercing pain from the lingering wounds of the NSAS movement is providing fuel for the fire of those knitting the nightmare that is now causing some of Nigerian wiliest veterans stomach cramps. For the main opponent of Mr. Peter Obi, the waves he is making and excitement is generating is a cause of great unease. Many of them have betrayed as much when they have had the opportunity to speak. Many of them have repeatedly abused that Mr. Obi had no structure, and without structures cannot expect to win an election of this magnitude in Nigeria. Many of them have spoken dismissively of the relatively obscurity of the Labour Party, and in fact, that it has no structures across Nigeria. In his defense, Mr. Peter Obi has been steadfast in saying that all over 100 million Nigerians who remain stuck beneath the intellectual poverty line makes up the structure. It is true that Nigeria is a vast country, both in terms of size and diversity. If the country is stretched to breaking point now, it is because of many years those entrusted with managing the country have done a desperately poor job. Some of those who have brought Nigeria to the wilderness where it is today are in the race with Mr. Obi, and unwittingly their past indiscretion is not fixing the country when they had the opportunity to do so in providing his supporters with ammunition for his campaign that is already upsetting the apple cart. It is proven providential and even ironical that it is out of the presidential ambition of a man who supposedly had no structure that the nightmare is shaping up for some of those whose confidence that they will win the race to Aso Rock is rooted. The vast network and financial vault they have built over many years by nothing but corrupt patronage this country. 2023 is around the corner. Whether it's shapeless, whether it's structureless, we will see. Because the people is like they are ready to take on those that have been ruling this country. I know the anger of NSAS 2020 is still there, and the cloud of people supporting him are mostly from that angle, the youth. I don't know why people will deliberately delude themselves. Time shall tell who is deluded. Buhari knows his government has failed ignominiously. If he loves Nigeria, he must not hand over to a fake human being and the other onlooker on the other right. Let's watch and pray. Vote will be for president. But if I'm PMB, I would rather hand over to the fake human being that supported me to Aso Rock after 3 failed attempts than the real human being that told the world that I have died and replaced by Jubril of Sudan. Why are you so comfortable with being a fake? You have a flair. I would love to read more. I don't know why people are just not comfortable with his becoming the president of this country. What will be, will be. There's a tide in the affairs of men. Corrupt politicians and individuals in the public office are the major problems in the country. But it's so unfortunate that one can steal enough for himself, but not for everyone. Until we begin to do the needful, this can continue. One can steal for himself, but not for the whole of his town, local government and state. But talking about one that can block the usual means of corruption for individuals and the politician in public space. Who is the fool? How much did the Agbero politician paid? One can deceive some people all the time, but can also successfully deceive all the people sometimes. But not all can be deceived all the time. I thought when Nigeria said it is only take miracle to deliver this country, one is hidden to us now, make una think and well. What in Nigerian market woman English lexicon be? Structure. It will end hunger and starvation, end devil insecurity, create employment, that is the structure, reduce drastically satanic costs created by government, end institutionalized corruption, end university closure, once and for all, restructure Nigeria so that we can have national cohesion. Wherever you got it from, I know that the structure that he needs are in the people. Obedient movement supporters are the structures. All the structures, people don't know something. A good guerrilla tactics will always beat a well-structured army. And no structure is more structured than the humans. Building newly pelted before election have no thumbprint. We will vote for obedience. What is your own take on this? That the opponent are shouting, he has no structure, he has no structure. But the people have come out to say, we are the structure of Mr. Obi. Kindly make your own opinion known. Will he get there without any structure in place, or the people are enough structure for him?